Ladies and gentlemen, a global surveillance system and monitoring AI has just been announced this week. A system so powerful that it can monitor in near real time every square meter of the surface of the planet to determine what kind of activity is going on there. Now, this sounds fantastical, but indeed, it's been publicly unveiled this week, and I want to pick this apart and make sure it is absolutely clear that what we're talking here about is perfect information awareness, and furthermore, that it is absolutely a component of this total perfect data being collected and fed into a central artificial intelligence system right now. We need to talk about this. I'm Christian, and this is the Ice Age Farmer broadcast. And when Al Gore emerged from his cave this week to announce a new project that will use artificial intelligence to track the world's emissions in near real time, what he's describing is nothing less than a global surveillance system. Indeed, in his own words, Al Gore says, quote, "We are creating, in a way, a massively distributed body cam for the planet." Yeah, a very real way. He's not even hiding it. This is a surveillance system globally. From Fast Company, quote, "As the world tries to figure out how to flatten the climate curve, one challenge is how to track current emissions from every power plant, from every farm, and from every other source on the planet for that matter. We want it all. We want perfect awareness of every activity on the surface of the planet, of every resource." Well, where have we heard that language before? Well, that's straight from Agenda 2030, total awareness of every resource and every activity on the planet, so we can account for it. We can make sure it's kosher. Quote, "A new project called the Climate Trace Coalition plans to use satellite imagery and artificial intelligence to track those emissions in near real time, even if they're not being reported by the source." Yes, even if you were trying to keep it secret, especially then. Because we've already traced your contacts, and now we're going to trace your emissions. It's all part of our total information awareness. And the resolution on this isn't just, in fact, up here we read, "The reason we have to do this is because one time China lied about how much coal they burned. Back in 2015, they came out and said we burned a lot of coal. So now, since China lied once, now we need to monitor everyone on the planet at all times." You see how that's a ridiculous justification? There is nothing that could possibly justify monitoring every human and their emissions on the planet at all times. But that's the story that's being sold here. And in fact, down here, they also say, quote, "We're going to need power plant, in fact, boiler level information in literally real time for every single power plant in the world." Ambitious much? Yeah, they want everything down to that fidelity, that level of resolution. And of course, Al Gore has his mug out there selling this. I guess that's a natural candidate since they've had him rolled out there in front since even well before his 2006 nonsense movie about emissions. So now we see that this is why they have clung to that narrative, even though it didn't even make sense and certainly the science wasn't there. But no, they continued to demonize this trace gas for years now, and now we see why. It's because they needed something to justify the rollout of a perfect surveillance system around the entire world. It's just ridiculous. And indeed, this is a long-standing plan. This isn't just something that Al Gore cooked up this past summer. Here from the Imperial College of London, that would be the same Imperial College of London that came up with the coronavirus models that justified the lockdown. Yeah, the same college also has been talking for some time about how to build a global emissions surveillance system. Emissions, global monitoring. It really doesn't matter, though, that they tell you it's for emissions. That's just the color of the lipstick that they're putting on this man, bear, pig. Because the reality is a global surveillance system. Europe has been toying with this from 2018. They were eyeing a fleet of tiny CO2 monitoring satellites. And then, just this year, we're really seeing the prime time. Eye from the sky. This is from geospatialworld.net. Satellites are going to pinpoint greenhouse emissions in air pollution. You can see they've been building up this narrative for a while now. And like all of the agendas, it is rolling out during the pandemic at light speed. So down here, we see that the world's most advanced pollution monitoring satellite in the world is called the Sentinel. Yes, which means guard or sentry. They're literally telling you that they're putting guards up in the sky. The Sentinel has gained insights already showing that most of the air pollution globally is anthropogenic. Never mind fungus. I mean, that's just, yeah, fine. So the AI somehow has already decided that humans are the enemy. And I don't know where they get names like Sentinels for their AI monitoring systems, or Skynet, which is also a name of a DoD system. It's like they really, really enjoy building out things straight from dystopic fiction and even using the same names. It's very much right in your face. This Sentinel, which will be guarding us all and watching for your missions. Ladies and gentlemen, that's an incredibly valuable data set. Just recently, we've heard independent researchers were collecting elevated levels of particulate matter above the streets of Wuhan, and deducing as a result that something was being burned in extraordinary quantities on the ground there. See, that's just one example of how you can use emissions data to peer into a place on the planet and figure out something about what's going on there. From a larger standpoint, here's another example of actually using the satellite data straight from the Sentinel 5P, showing that as the coronavirus lockdowns extended across China, their emissions dropped off. Which is insightful because it tells you that emissions data is a proxy for economic activity. So if you want to lock down all manufacturing, all farming and ranching, all activity, all human activity, this is how you do it. This data affords you that visibility. This is why I say this is a global monitoring system. This also tells you that the Sentinels have been deployed for some time, collecting data, and Al Gore's new project just marries all of that data. Just like Android and iPhone are marrying their data sets so that we can do better contact tracing. Now, you see all of the stops are just being pulled out, and all of the data is suddenly flowing all towards this central aggregation point, right into the central AI at the DoD. Now again, the color of the lipstick that they're selling you on this man-bear-pig, it's all, we're from the government, we're here to help style. We're going to detect methane leaks or pipeline leaks. We're going to use this to detect criminal fishing activity, right? If you see fishing boats that are spitting out too much nasty gases, or if you see them going into international waters or sanctuaries, preserves where they're not supposed to be fishing, well, we can save the planet. We can save the fish by cracking down on illegal fishing. But ladies and gentlemen, this is not about stopping illegal fishing. And there are already examples of government agencies, of the state, using the eye in the sky to crack down for environmental purposes on activities on the planet. In fact, here's one where the EPA used satellite data and noticed that some gentleman had too many scrap cars on his property. Property that I'm sure he thought he owned. He paid for it. He owned this property. But no, you can't park cars on your property. No. We're going to fly over with our satellites and notice your cars. And that's just one example. Again, even with the emissions. If you're running diesel farm equipment, no, we told you couldn't do that anymore. You're burning out of a wood burning stove? No. You're supposed to be on natural gas now. Remember? You've got one too many cows on your ranch. You've got one too many plants, or the wrong kind of plants. You see how all of this information that they're collecting can be used to crack down on all kinds of human activity, including growing your own food, farming and ranching, the food supply chain. And as I said at the top, this is absolutely being done in concert with the rollout of the blockchain, this new revamped AI supply chain that is going to keep, in their own words, is going to keep track of every coffee bean that's harvested and every piece of every fish that comes out of the sea. Because they want, I can't say it enough, they want total awareness of every resource and activity on the planet. That's the agenda here. So between a supply chain that's tracked front to back in blockchain, which has been greatly accelerated under the guise of the pandemic, from the digital currency, which is now being again talked about and justified this time because it's going to make the world a better place for underprivileged populations. Somehow a blockchain-based digital currency is going to help make a more equitable future. Equitable, of course, being one of those red flag words that we know makes up the green mask, thanks to Rosa Corey. When you see words like sustainable or equitable, we know it's all just a ruse. This is being used to sell human enslavement. And then also this week, Dr. Fauci starts talking about how contact tracing didn't work because no one picked up the phone. And so now we're going to have to, because it's your fault. You didn't answer your phone. Now we're going to have to roll out contact tracing to your phone that you don't opt into. It's just forced. Everyone has to do this now because you didn't do your job. So tracing for the climate, tracing for the vegetables, tracing for you, everywhere you go, everything you do, it's all being rolled out, publicly announced right now. It's not a secret. It's not a conspiracy. It's being done for your safety now. And as has been also publicly unveiled this summer, the DoD's AI, created by the JAIC, the Joint Artificial Intelligence Center, with whom Eric Schmidt from Google is working, is creating this new AI. They're feeding into it all of your grocery retail transaction data, and they're even telling you that this is part of the Joint All-Domain Command and Control System, a massive effort to digitally interlink all weapons, all vehicles, all military personnel. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an AI weapons system that they're now hooking up. Like I said, all of the data is suddenly flowing in, and now it's all going in. Why? It's because we're in an arms race. This is an AI arms race. It's not about nukes now. It's about, as Putin said, who can build the biggest AI, and what that means is who can feed it the most data. The only currency of the future is data, because he with the most data has the best AI, and he with the best AI will rule the world. Putin didn't really speak with any ambiguity there. But stepping back, ladies and gentlemen, it's frustrating. It's crazy making. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills because we have these same losers, these same characters, Al Gore, coming out and saying we're going to monitor everything you do everywhere on the planet, using an army of sentinels in the sky, right? Look at the language they're using. We've got Bill Clinton talking about the army of contact tracers and how important that is. These same characters, and again with that military language, sentinels in the sky, armies of contact tracers on the ground. There's a reason they're using these military terms. It's because they have declared war on all of us. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have to fight back. It's not enough to go hide in a cave or move out into the mountains and start growing food. We should all be growing food, yes, absolutely. I stand by that. We need to be moving towards distributed modes of growing food and not depending on the systems that they're breaking right now. And they're trying to enslave everyone by controlling those supply chains. So obviously we all need to be growing our own food, yes. But more to the point, we're going to have to get these people off our back. We're going to have to fight. And I don't have for you an easy fix for this. But I can say that if you imagine what it would look like if tomorrow everyone were aware of what Agenda 2030 is, if suddenly everyone knew that there were people who were trying to herd all of humanity into the smart cities and enslave them and take total control over and awareness of every resource and activity on the planet, I'm pretty sure that agenda would get shut down tomorrow. So absolutely, educating people is a part of the solution here, and that's why I stress all the time the importance of spreading the word. Please join me in spreading the word about what's going on. I really feel that's critical here, as they try and tell us that we are entering a fourth industrial revolution and we're not even necessary for this even more. They're shutting down the food production. As I said, Cuba just came out and told their own people, you guys need to start growing your own food because of all these supply chain interruptions. You're literally going to starve if you don't take this into your own hands right now. This is the message. If we had any real leadership around the world, this is the message everyone would be sending right now, instead of just Cuba and the Ice Age Farmer Channel. But this is where we are now, folks. And there's really no way to do justice to the fact that Al Gore has just publicly announced a global surveillance system. But I hope I've made a decent explanation of that today. And I hope you can help me in spreading the word even farther using a better explanation. You're probably better at me than this, so join me. Thanks again for watching, folks. You can find all of my reports directly at iceagefarmer.com, and you can support this broadcast through a few different methods, iceagefarmer.com/support. I also want to mention that this video is dedicated to Rolf Witze, who I'm sorry to share passed away on Thursday of this week. I was informed by a close friend that his daughter will be maintaining his website, which is ice-age-ahead-iaa.ca, going forward so that his work remains available. Rolf Witze was, of course, the guy behind Ice Age Ahead and a series of videos on YouTube, which, while I didn't have the pleasure of knowing him in person, I had the honor of being informed and certainly inspired by him and his mission here to spread the word about the fact that solar activity is collapsing, climate is getting colder, crops are failing, and humanity needs to be prepared. So we were certainly brothers in that mission. And Rolf, thank you for your work, and you will be missed. As I said, his daughter will be maintaining this website, and so if you'd like to join me in expressing your appreciation for her doing so and sharing your condolences, you can click this donate button on his website, and that will still reach his family. All right, folks, again, thanks for watching. Please spread the word. Let's go build great things and spread the word like Rolf did such a great job of. Be well.